Hey there, and good morning. We are just jumping here a little bit early. We will wait on a few people to join us for the live video inside. We will give people a couple of minutes to join as it's just now 9 o'clock. For those who will be catching up this or may miss it and are watching it on the replay, we'll be 9 o'clock every day this week except Wednesday. We will be 10 o'clock on Wednesday. That's Eastern time. So we will go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we will do Monday. We will not be on Sunday. So good morning. It's 9:01, 9:02. We're going to go ahead and get started here with the first day of the team building Masterclass challenge. So hang in. If you have questions, just put them in the comment. Today we will be spending most of the time doing a little bit of overview, doing a little bit of what to expect out of the thing. So like I said, we will be live here at 9 a.m. every day except Wednesday. We will be 10 o'clock Wednesday Eastern time. So we will go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then we'll be back on Monday to wrap it up for the 7th day. So today, I'm going to give you a quick overview of where we're going. I'm going to give you the overview of the 7 keys to building a winning team. I'm going to give you some mindset things, but it's going to be a good thing. So as you have questions, you can put them in the comments, and we will take it from there. And if you're watching this later, you can reach out. You can put comments in the session. I will be answering any questions that I find inside the Facebook group for this one. So let's get started. A number of years ago, I wrote a book called The Coach Approach: 5 Keys to Building a Winning Team, or winning business. Well, to build a winning business, you got to build a winning team. So in it, I came up with the concept of being epic, and epic is an acronym. Epic, and so we have 4 main aims for the challenge. 4 main aims, and the first aim is to educate. So the E stands for educate, and the root word for educate is educe, which means to draw out. So we're going to draw out some things that are already in there, and we're going to help you learn some other things along the way. So we'll teach you some things, and we'll draw out some things that you already know. The P stands for planning. I don't know anybody who, if you're going to have a winning team, you have to plan to have a winning team. So we will help you build a plan to have a winning team. That's part of what we'll go into this week. The I stands for inspiration. We hope you're going to find some inspiration. I think a lot of times in business we get beat up. We get knocked down. We get hit. And we lose our inspiration. So hopefully we're going to help you find some inspiration to get started again. So go ahead and we'll help you find some inspiration by watching this, by participating in this challenge. So part of the idea of the challenge is to take on something new. That's what it's called, a challenge. So we're going to help you learn a different approach, work on a different approach, build a plan to have a team, have a winning team, and then come back. Now the C stands for commitment. So this I want you to if you're not watching these things live, I want you to watch them. I want you to do every single one of them, and I want you to do all the work. That is commitment. If you're completely committed, then we'll be able to help you build that winning team. So educate, plan, inspire, commit. Those are our 4 goals for the team building challenge. So what I know about building a team is that first we have to start with the leader. Okay? And so we've got to get our own mindset right as the leader of a team. John Maxwell has a law called the law of the lid, and what he says is the business can only be as good as the owner or the leader. Okay? The team can only be as good as the leader. So if you're here as a leader, let's say this is your level, then you can only go to here. As you increase your level of leadership, you can go to here. So in order for the business to get better, you have to get better. So we're going to work on you a little bit today, and then we're going to get into working on how to build that winning team over the next 7 days. So the first thing is, I always say, how many of you know someone that it's never their fault? They live in blame. They play the blame game. It's always blame. It's always something else or somebody else's fault. The biggest one lately has been, obviously, COVID. We couldn't possibly do anything because of COVID. Then we're going to make excuses. Okay? So, and then the worst is even denial. Now, it's a little bit of a hierarchy. You start out in a state of denial. You make an excuse, and then you blame something. So, don't have a problem. We have a problem, but there comes your excuse. It's COVID's fault. See how that works? So we all do this, by the way. We all stay, a lot of people all day long we're staying. Now, if you really want to build a winning team, then you're going to have to get yourself out of blaming them for everything they do. If something happens, or allowing them to make excuses, or even allowing them to deny there's a problem, we're going to have to flip it over. Now, this is called the point of power. Below the point of power, we have blame, excuse, denial. And below the point of power is the victim mentality. And some of you probably are related to victims. But this is the victim mentality. Okay? So we've got to get out of the victim mentality and get into the victor mentality. Now, what's in the victor mentality? What is above the point? Below the point, what happens? Nothing. Nothing good, anyway. We just have people standing around blaming each other. Okay? Above the point, we have ownership, accountability, responsibility. Now, I was trained in a technical field, but I like words. I understand the power of words. Everybody understands the power of words. Have you ever been built up by somebody's words? Of course you have. Have you ever been knocked down by somebody else's words? Of course you have. So, let's look into the words. Let's look into what the words. Ownership. It's own ship. You're the ship owner. It is your ship to own. That means you have choices. You can go left. You can go right. They call it port and starboard on a boat. You can go forward. You can set your GPS for wherever you want to go. You have to choose where it is you want to go to be successful. Okay, so. You can get a different boat. You can buy a motor. You can put up a different sail. You have choices. Accountability. Ability to account. To whom? Well, to yourself, to your team, you've got to be accountable to yourself if you expect your team to be accountable to themselves and to you. Okay? Family, whatever you're going to be accountable to. Ability to account. Responsibility. Ability to respond. Are there things outside of our control that happen? Of course they are. But a lot of times success is how we respond to the things that happen to us. Things are going to happen. I don't care. I was talking to a client the other day about building. They build houses or whatnot. If you don't build a house, if you're in a construction project, there are always going to be problems. So what we were talking about was getting the client ready for that. So they knew not everything's going to go smoothly. It's just not the way it works. Okay? So, they're always going to be, but we have to respond to those problems positively and communicate with the client to let them know what's going on. We have to teach our team to do the same thing. So Below the thing, victim. Above, victor. Down here, what's another word for excuses? Well, the word I often hear is reasons. If you get ready to hear something from your team that's going to be, they say the reason is, guess what? It's likely going to be an excuse. Reasons, results. So if it's all right with y'all, we're going to keep it above the point. So key one is to go over this slide with all of your team so that they understand. No one really wants to live in blame, excuse, deny, but we always go to, you've got to create a languaging that allows you to communicate with them, so you don't have to say you're just blaming. You can say, isn't that a bit below the point? So assignment one, go over this with everyone, okay, on your team. Put it up. I have a client who has this flip chart. It's nice. Put it nice in a PowerPoint kind of thing, and put it on his wall in his break room. He's gone over it with his team. He's gone over it with every team member. When he has an issue, he could say, "All right, are we really living here? Or are we living there?" And it helps them do it. So number one, move everybody into an ownership, accountability, response. Get yourself there first. Got to be a good leader. Get them there. The only failure is the failure to, and you can fill in your own blank, but we say participate. If you give 100%, you'll get 100%. All right? If you're not focused on building your team 100%, then you're going to have a less than 100% team. Think about it. So the only failure is the failure to participate. I'm going to go full out for the next 7 days. All I ask is that you do the same. So you have to have this. This is it. You've got to give 100%, or your team's not going to give 100%. That's just it. If you have teenagers, you know that they love this statement, I know. I know. What happens when we say I know? We completely create a wall between us and the learning, right? There's nothing. We shut everything else. We're not learning anymore. So I'm going to ask you over the next 7 days to open yourself up to learning and replace it. Now, the interesting thing about when you eliminate languaging, by the way, languaging is super important for all this. If you eliminate languaging from your vocabulary, you have to replace it with something else. It's like a habit. Okay, so if we got an I know, then what can you replace it with? Well, I'm open to learning. But one I like is, isn't that interesting, or that's interesting. We say that's interesting. Now, what does that do? I know that some of you out there were in corporate, and when you went to your boss with an idea and they said, well, we tried that 2 years ago and it didn't work. Well, that just shuts you off from all learning. It was like, I'm not going to bring any more ideas. But you want your people to bring you ideas. You want your team to bring you ideas. So instead of saying I know, we eliminate I know and we just have interesting. Sometimes they will bring you bad ideas, or ideas that are, the ideas they bring you usually fall into 3 categories. They're great ideas that we can do right now. Do them. They're great ideas that for whatever reason we can't do right now. Maybe they're very expensive, or maybe they take a lot of time, or maybe we have other priorities. And then they bring you other ideas that are not good. But either way, you can buy yourself some time. You can do it if you eliminate I know from your vocabulary and you say, that's interesting. So if it's all right with y'all, we're going to eliminate I know from our vocabulary and have just interesting. Hey, building a team should be fun. I like having a team. I love having people around. I love seeing them grow as people. I don't, we get into the 7 keys to build a winning team, but you've got to have some fun with this. Business should be fun. Building a team should be fun. Achieving things is fun. Sports is fun. There's a lot of work ahead. There's a lot of preparation that goes into winning a game, but it is fun to play the game. It is fun to win. So have some fun out there. Let's get the fun back into the game. And remember, a lot of y'all are in business so that you have time to do the things that you want to do when you want to do them, to have fun. Okay? Now, a lot of people, I just get in my drawing, but that's a light bulb. And they usually get it right. I mean, I'm amazed when I ask people about that. So, over this 7-day class, you're going to get BFOs. Now, what's a BFO? It's a blinding flash of the obvious. It's that, holy cow, why didn't I think of that? Like, I worked with a group of salespeople one time, insurance guys, and one of the guys said, I used to do the 3-foot rule. And I was like, well, what's the 3-foot rule? And he said, well, I would, and now that COVID's over, you can get back to the 3-foot rule. But he said I would go to anybody I would meet. I'd be out in public in a line buying something at the grocery store. I'd say, hey, you may not be in the market for insurance now, but my name's Bill. Here's my card. If you'd when you get ready for insurance, I'd love to talk to you about your insurance. Maybe we can I can help you. And I said, why'd you stop? He said, well, I don't have any business cards. So I said, well, let's give it a shot. Why don't you get some business cards back and let's try it? So about a month later, we were back meeting again, and I said, how'd you go with the 3-foot rules? He said, Bill, I sold 2 policies in the last 2 weeks just off of people that I met, wandering around, handing out my cards, saying hi to them. So, the stuff that used to work might work. Some of the things that you haven't thought about might work. When you get a BFO, what should you do? Well, what should you do with that bazillion-dollar idea that you got at 3 in the morning? You should write it down. You should also probably discuss it with some other people and that you trust, not somebody who's going to chop you off at the knees, but maybe somebody on your team, and see what they think about it. But, discuss it. It's sort of a how can we thing. So you're going to get BFOs. Be ready for them. Your second assignment is to stop this video right now and get out a piece of paper and write down, what do you want your team to be, or what do you want out of this learning? What is it that you want? Right, that's your second assignment. So stop the video now. Take a few minutes. What do you want out of your learning? Okay? Now I'm going to go over, now that you're back, good job. This is going to help you. I'm going to go over real quickly what I believe the 7 keys to having a winning team are, and then over the next 7 days or 6 days after this, we're going to dig in to each of these and in more depth. Okay? So number 1, strong leadership. I've already talked about that. If your team stinks, look in the mirror. I know you don't want to hear that. If your team stinks, look in the mirror. Okay? If your team's great, if you want it to be better, look in the mirror. There's always something. The leader is always the lid, as John Maxwell said, on the thing again. So, look, we'll talk about how to become a better leader, how to become a strong leadership tomorrow. But for now, just know that you need to be a strong leadership. And that's something we often work with our coaching clients on, our one-to-one clients on, becoming better leaders. Okay? Common goal. What's the common goal? If you have no vision, then how are people going to want to join your team? Nobody wants to join a bus that they don't know where it's going. They don't want to get on a train if they don't know where it's going. They don't want to get on an airplane if they don't know where it's going. Okay, why would someone come on your business if you don't know where it's going? Think about it. So if you don't have a clear vision, which is, we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. If you don't have a clear vision, then can you expect anybody else to join your team? All right? Number 3, rules of the game. This is your culture. These are your decision-making rules. If we have a strong culture, we can build a strong team, and people will join a culture. People want to be part of a culture. That's, cult is the first part of culture. People want to join something. We're not talking about joining a negative cult in that thing. We want to be a positive cult. Okay? You got to have a plan. We talked a little about action plans. We talked about planning being one of the things we're going to do. You have to encourage risk-taking. And I'm not talking about bungee jumping. I'm talking about decision-making. I'm talking about crawling before you walk before you run. We'll talk about risk-taking and that. 100% involvement and inclusion. It's up to you to include everyone as the leader, but it's up to them to be involved. So we're going to talk about employee engagement here. And then you've got to have some sort of continuous improvement process or training for the team for them to get better. Okay? You know, a great football team practices. A great orchestra practices. A great actor practices their craft. They've always got to be working on getting better. Does it make sense? So those are the 7 keys that we're going to dig into deeper. Okay? So I'm going to ask you to go ahead and start thinking about your vision. Now, if you have a vision statement written down, I'd love for you to have it. If you don't have a vision statement written down, I'd love for you. Now let's talk a little bit about what a vision is, because this is going to become more or less your common goal. So maybe if you have a project team, then you're going to want to have a vision for what the project is going to be. But let's talk a little bit about a great vision. A vision is something that will enroll and inspire your clients, will enroll and inspire your team, will enroll and inspire your suppliers. It will enroll and inspire everybody. It is generally bigger than you can accomplish. Ours at Action Coach is world abundance through business re-education. Now think about that. That's massive. It is the legacy that you want to leave. So generally, I mean, it could just be, one of my clients, they want to be the best grading contractor or excavator in their geographic region. Okay? That's it. They want to be the best. They don't necessarily want to be the biggest. They want to be the best. Okay? And then you begin to start talking about that. Now, the mission will tell us how to do that, but let's start with the vision. So for your home fund, I would love for you to begin to write down your vision. Okay? If you can write down your vision, that would be awesome. And we can take it from there. So that's about it. You've got your home fund to begin to work on your above and below the point. You've got your home fund to come up with your vision. So we'll see you tomorrow, 9 a.m. in the group. If you can join us live, that's great. If you can just watch it on the video, that's okay. In any event, we want you to get a lot out of this. So enjoy the learning, and until tomorrow, all the best.